Hey guys, it is Mark from the Sports Corner. It is week 15 in the NFL, so you know what that means. Time for my predictions, time for my best bets. We have a full slate of games, no buys this week. There's some really crazy matchups here. We have the Detroit Lions versus the Bills. We have the Eagles versus the Steelers, and we have the Green Bay Packers versus the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday Night Football. So there's matchups galore. It's going to be a lot of fun, a full Sunday. Just a reminder, if you want my predictions for Thursday Night Football and Monday Night Football, I do those on my TikToks, my YouTube Shorts. We already picked the Rams plus the 3 points yesterday, so that came through for us. So we're already winning. And let's talk about winning and wins and losses. Week 14, I had my worst week and since I've started doing YouTube videos and predictions. I've been in the green every week. Only 2 weeks. Only 1 week I went even, and last week I went in the red. So not my best week for predicting games last week, but you know what? You can't be winning money every week or everybody be millionaires or making a lot of money from doing this. But week 15, let's get the ball rolling again. Let's get back on a winning streak. I like a lot of matchups here. It's going to be not just fun watching them, but I think there's some profit to be made here. So with that, guys, like and subscribe goes a long way, please. But also, let's get to it. Wait till the end for my best bets. I got 3 real good ones, so let's get after it. My predictions for Week 15 in the NFL. And with our first matchup, this matchup could get real ugly. It could get real ugly. We have the Ravens versus the Giants. Baltimore being favored by 16 points and the over-under being 48.5. Ravens are coming off a bye, but before that, they lost to the Eagles. And they have lost 2 out of 3 games of late. Let's just keep this short and simple. The Giants are terrible. The Giants are just awful. There's injuries galore. They don't have Dexter Lawrence anymore, their best defender. He's out for the year. And Tommy DeVito is going to be the quarterback. Tommy DeVito. The guy is terrible, okay? I know he brings a lot of people, a lot of memes, and he's fun to watch, but the guy can't throw the ball down the field whatsoever. The Giants are terrible. Like I said, they're terrible. They're on an 8-game losing streak. They almost beat the Saints. I'll give them that, but the Saints did lose David Carr at some point in that game. But other than that, they really haven't anything else special with them. They haven't thrown the Giants, the New York Giants, haven't thrown a passing touchdown in almost 6 weeks. How awful is that? Drew Lock or Jones or DeVito has not thrown 1 passing touchdowns in 6 weeks. That is god awful. And you have weapons. You have Neighbors. You have Slayton. Hell, you have Tracy, the running back you could throw to get a touchdown. You don't have 1 passing touchdown. That is really embarrassing for a team. The injuries are just stacked up. Like I said, Lawrence is out. Andrew Thomas has been out for the year. Their starting safety, their defensive tackle, their left guard, their right tackle, their linebacker are all probably out for this game. Or maybe 1 or 2 may play, but all those guys are hurt, all those starters. So that is not looking good for the Giants right now. This game for me just comes down to a couple of things. The Giants are terrible and they're injured like hell, and Tommy DeVito is not a good quarterback. But more importantly, the Ravens need to make this game a statement win. They need to pound the Giants into the ground like nobody's business. They lost to the Eagles and they lost to the Steelers just recently. So they need to show the other teams in the NFL that they're still that team that looked so great in the beginning of the year when they're rolling teams, putting a lot of points up. They need to show that again, okay? So I think they come into New York and they just smash the Giants. I took this number when it was 14.5 when the week started, but I still like it at 16. So like I said, I think the Ravens they're going to make a statement win against the Giants. And Tommy DeVito's the quarterback. The guy's awful. The Ravens secondary is not good, but this guy can't get the ball to his wide receivers. So give me the Ravens to pound the Giants into the ground, and they're going to cover the 16 points. I think this is going to be a 31-10 game or 31-11, something around that. But give me the Ravens to cover the spread. And we're going to have a real barn burner here. We have the Jets versus the Jaguars, 2 god-awful teams going at it. Jets favored by 3 points and the over-under being 40.5. Battle the two terrible teams, like I said. The Jets are 3-10, and the Jags are also 3-10. And come on, Jets being 3-10 with all that talent on offense is unbelievable. It just shows you this team has no harmony. They're just like individual guys out there to play, and they're trying to get their stats up, and whoever wins the game. It's awful. Jets are coming off a loss to the Dolphins, and the Jags are actually coming off a win against the Titans. I couldn't believe it. I had the Titans in that game, and it was a terrible, boring game. I didn't bet that game, but they won 6-10, and I thought the Titans were going to win that game. Go figure. But hey, good win for the Jaguars. I'm going to keep this one short and simple as well. The Jets have the better weapons. They just do. The better QB, but they also are a mess, as I said before. I think a lot of those players did check out for the Jets, but you can't deny they have talent on the offensive end and defensive end. The Jets O-line is beat up. Breece Hall didn't practice on Wednesday, so keep that in mind. He may be out again. And their starting linebacker is out as well, and their right tackle Moses is beat up as well. Jags have only a few bright spots on their whole team. Their rookie wide receiver is great. But Mac Jones is the quarterback, so is he gonna even get the ball to Thomas? Who knows? Good tight end in Ingram as well. A decent to average good running back duo in Travis Etienne and Bigsby. Nothing to write home about. But they also have some good defenders. They have two guys who could get after the quarterback, Hines Allen and Walker. They have really good potential. I believe both of them are over 7 sacks each, so they can get after the quarterback. The Jets are 4-9 against the spread. The Jaguars are 7-5-1 against the spread. Go figure that. The Jets are 2-4 against the spread on the road, while the Jags are 2-1 against the spread at home. So when it comes to this, the Jags are covering spreads, looks great, but the Jets have more talent on their team overall. But they're a mess. Doesn't look like they're engaging at all and don't really want to win games. I think the best bet here is 40.5, under 40.5. I think the Jets hold the Jaguars to like 13 points. I guess I see this game being a 13-20 game, around that range. The Jets do enough to win this game, so I think they will cover, but I think the best bet is under 40.5. And I actually like this matchup here. I really do. We got the Cowboys versus the Panthers. Carolina Panthers favored by 3 points, and the over-under being 43. Dallas is coming for a loss to the Bengals, which they should have won. That crazy special teams play punt, that was just nuts. Like no discipline, and the Bengals get the ball back, they score a touchdown, and they eventually win the game. Cooper Rush hasn't looked so bad. After Dak Prescott, it was pretty much over for the Cowboys, but Cooper Rush hasn't looked so bad. He has 1,191 yards passing, 7 touchdowns, and 3 picks. That is not terrible for a backup quarterback, I'll tell you that. Rico Dowdle is the best running back for this team. He looks great. Looks like they're really implementing plays for him. So Rico has 3 good games in a row, the running back. And, they still have CeeDee Lamb, and they got Ferguson back, the tight end. He was hurt for a couple games, but now he's back. So, and they're using Turpin, and they have Cooks, the other wide receiver. So they're not without any weapons, the Dallas Cowboys. They just have one really good weapon in CeeDee Lamb, and then a kind of average to maybe above average players after that. So it's really CeeDee Lamb, but, good games coming out of Dallas from Cooper Rush. Diggs, their best quarterback, he came back last week, so he's shaking more of that rust off. So he's coming back next. I think he'll be better for this game against the Panthers because he is their best cornerback. But their starting guard, Zach Martin, one of the best guards, he is out for the year, so that might be a big hit. But the Panthers' defense is not so great, so I don't think the Cowboys really have to worry about Rush getting sacked all the time because the Panthers have maybe the worst defense in the league. The Panthers coming in hot. They covered 5 straight games, so they're covering spreads galore. In those 5 games, they've lost 3 straight up, but those losses have combined. Those 3 losses combined for only 12 points. So they're in it every single game, the last 5 games, and they're covering spreads. Like I said, 5 in a row. Bryce Young has looked good. He has thrown 5 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in his last 5 games. And Adam Thielen, since he's come back, he's been a godsend for Young. He's had back-to-back 100-yard games. So Adam Thielen still has it, even at 34, 35 years old. He still looks real good. Chuba Hubbard, I've been on that guy for a while. I've been telling everybody he looks great. Ride him, for anytime touchdowns. He's looking really great. He will have to take more of the load, though, because their rookie running back, Brooks, he tore his ACL again, unfortunately, so he's out. And Miles Sanders is on the IR as well, so they're probably gonna run Chuba Hubbard 25 to 30 carries, because I don't know who the hell they're gonna. Probably a practice squad guy, but you don't want to, trust that. Cowboys are 4-9 against the spread. Panthers are 6-7 against the spread. Cowboys are 3-3 against the spread on the road, and the Panthers are 4-4 against the spread playing home. And the road team has covered the spread in 4 of the Cowboys' last 5 games. So with all that being said, I think people are buying a little too much on the Panthers. I know they've covered 5 games in a row. They took the Philadelphia Eagles to the wire. They could have won that game if the rookie wide receiver doesn't drop the ball into the touchdown, okay? The Eagles still had a chance to win that game when they got the ball back, but they couldn't still beat the Eagles. So they're in it. They took Kansas City to the wire. But, when the stock is high, like it is with the Panthers, and you see everybody pitting all their money on them, kind of stray away from that, okay? This is still not that great a team. It's still a terrible defense. And their offense has one good wide receiver, one good running back, and a bunch of average people after that. They do have a good offensive line. I'll give them that, okay? But what I'm trying to get to is this. They've covered 5 games in a row in the spread, and it was a good time to buy the Panthers stock when they were that low. If you, like I was betting them to cover spreads. That's great. But now they're too high. And the Cowboys stock is low. So I'm taking the Cowboys money line straight up to win this game. They still have a good defense, okay? They still have weapons. And like I said, Cooper Rush is doing well. And Rico, the running back, he's looking great. He's over 700 yards rushing. Okay, when the season started, it looks like they had no running game, the Cowboys. So I think the Panthers stock is too high and people are buying a little too much of the hype. So I'm taking the Cowboys money line to win straight up. But if you're more comfortable, take Cowboys plus the 3 points. I also like the under 43.5. I think it's going to be a tight game. But my best play is Dallas money line and also Rico, the running back for the Cowboys, to have an anytime touchdown. But don't buy, okay? Don't buy the Panthers hype so much. They're still not that great of a team. Buy the stock when it's low. Buy Dallas Cowboys stock right now. They're going to win this game straight up. All right, and our next matchup, we have the Commanders versus the Saints. Commanders being favored by 7.5 and the over-under being 44 points. Commanders are coming off a bye, but before that, they lost 3 games of the last 4, so not too good. I told everybody the Commanders were going to fall to the earth. They only have 1 or 2 weapons on offense. Their defense is not so great, but you know what? Everybody thought Commanders were going to go to the moon and win the NFC East. That's not happening anymore. But they did blow out the Titans in the last game before the bye week. They blew the hell out of them. The Commanders did lose their Noah Brown. He was their second starter on the team. So that's kind of a blow. But they get Jameson Crowder back from the IR. Jameson Crowder is not as good as he once was. But he, if you need a first down, like it's 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4, he has really good sure hands. So, they do get a nice little pickup back there. But Noah Brown would stretched the field a bit, and he caught that Hail Mary pass that beat the Bears. So a little bit of a loss there. They still have Austin Eckler on the IR from a concussion, but their big acquisition from the trade they did with the New Orleans Saints, where they're playing now, Lattimore, who's a good corner, he is finally healthy. I think he hasn't played in several games, but he's finally healthy and he's coming back this game. So that should shore up the Commanders' defense a bit. He'll probably be a little rusty, but you know what? He's better than what they have. So him at corner is a real nice boost for the Commanders, especially down the stretch. They need to hold on to that wild card spot. The Saints, they're coming off a win against the Giants. I think they won by 2 points, 14-12, I believe. They have won 3 out of their last 4 games, But that's because David Carr was a quarterback. When David Carr got back from the IR, or he's finally healthy, and they got MVS from the free agent pool, they looked great. David Carr had a great weapon. He loves stretching down the field, and they were getting the ball to MVS. But now David Carr's hurt. They're saying he's questionable, but the guy's not gonna play this game. You know what? So I don't think he's gonna play this game. It's gonna be Spencer Rattler or that other guy, Honer. I don't know, something like that. And also their Swiss Army knife weapon, Taysom Hill, he's on the IR. I know he was put on the IR about 2 weeks ago, but just want to remind you guys, he was a great weapon, and he would really help this team out with David Carr being out. But now since he's out, it's not looking so great. They did get Kendra Miller back last week. He's the backup running back to Alvin Kamara. So they have a nice little three-headed running back here. They have Jamal Williams, who, don't forget, he had like over 15, 20 touchdowns a couple years ago. And now they have Kendra Miller, the young guy, and they have Alvin Kamara. So they might implement this three-headed running back thing, this three-headed back offense, because I don't think the quarterbacks are not going to get the ball down the field to their wide receivers. And their wide receivers are all beat up. They only have MVS. After that, it's Cedric Wilson Jr., I believe, and that's not too promising. So they only have really like one good wide receiver. So the Commanders, they have converted. This is a good statistic for the Commanders. They have converted 44.1 of their third downs, 44.1% of their third downs, which ranks sixth best, and they're the best at fourth down conversions. That's because Jaden Daniels, he could really run the ball. Him and Brian Thomas, who is healthy, they're a good running back, quarterback, and running back duo. So it's going to be hard for the Saints to contain Daniels. And the Saints have allowed the fifth most passing yards per game. Their cornerbacks are all beat up. They have so many cornerbacks on the IR or who are out for the year. And like I said, they traded Lattimore. Washington is 8-3, 1 against the spread in the last 12 games. New Orleans is 2-7 against the spread in the last 9 games, and are 2-4 against the spread in the last 6 games at home. So I think the writing's on the board. The Commanders, coming off bye week, they have an extra week of rest to heal Jaden Daniels' ribs, who I believe they're broken. They do get Lattimore back, their big trade acquisition. They've been waiting for him to, finally be healthy. He's a great corner. And the Saints are just too beat up. That's the main thing. They lose David Carr again. And when they didn't have David Carr before, they went on a terrible losing streak. So I think the Saints are just in a bad spot. They're just too beat up. And I think the Commanders win this easily. We're around 10 points, actually. So give me the Commanders to cover the 7.5. And in this matchup, I think it's going to be maybe a sneaky good game. It is the Bengals versus the Titans, Cincinnati being favored by 5.5 and the over-under being 46. Cincinnati's coming off a good win against the Cowboys. They needed a help from a special teams accident, if you will, but they still got the win. And Jamar Chase and Burrow, if they were having a winning record and potentially going to the playoffs, these two guys would be in the MVP conversations. That's how good of a year they're having. Thank God I have Chase in my fantasy, because that guy's killing it. But let's make this one short, okay, guys? The Bengals have a better offense on every level than the Titans. Better running back. I think Chris Brown is probably a little better than Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is a little banged up as well. The Bengals have the way better receiving core, Chase, and they have Higgins, and they have a good tight end in Jazetsky. So they have a better offense by far, okay? The Titans have a better defense, though. Let's get that straight. The Cincinnati Bengals defense is god awful. Awful. I mean, it's like anybody could pass on that team. They're a little beat up on the O-line, the Titans, with 3 linemen on the IR and another one who's questionable for this game. Tony Pollard is also dealing with an ankle injury. Like I said, he's a little beat up, and they need the running game. They need Tony Pollard to do great in this game if the Titans want to cover, let alone win. The Bengals are 6-1 against the spread in the last 7 road games, and the Titans are 1-8 against the spread in their last 9 games, and also the Titans are 0-6 against their last home games. So it's not looking good. Like I said, the Bengals are garbage, And since week 8, the Bengals defense is last in the league in opponent EPA. So I went back and forth with this game. And I know everybody's going to jump on the Bengals because they beat the Cowboys by 7 points. They have arguably the best wide receiver and quarterback duo in the NFL. But that defense is terrible. It is god-awful. And I think the Titans, if they just implement the run game a little bit more, Levis uses his legs like Drake May, like Bo Nix. He needs to start doing that a little bit more. So I think if they just, do well in the running the game and they use the play action to throw to their decent wide receivers in Tyler Boyd and Calvin Ridley, both teams could actually go on the over. I think this game gets over 46. I think the Bengals are going to have to put up another 27-point game. And I think the Titans, because the Bengals defense is so terrible, I think the Titans could put up 20 points on the Bengals. I truly do. So I think the Bengals are going to score on the Titans, even though the Titans have a good defense. But I think the Titans put up at least 18 to 20 points on the Bengals as well. So give me the over. I think, like I said, 20-27. Give me the over this game. But I also wouldn't be surprised if the Titans do a sneaky backdoor cover. But I think the best bet, like I said, over 46. And I like this matchup here. We have the Kansas City Chiefs, the overrated Kansas City Chiefs, versus the Cleveland Browns. Chiefs are favored by 4.5, and the over-under is 43 points. The Chiefs are coming off another lucky win. They beat the Chargers, and the football had to hit the upright, and it goes in. And the Chiefs escape again with a win. This team is the most luckiest team I've seen in a long time. I don't care what they say. I don't care what the rabid fans say. You guys have been lucky. If you can't admit that, then I don't know what to tell you. The Chiefs are 0-7 against the spread in their last 7 games. Not so good. The Chiefs are 1-5 against the spread versus the Browns in the last 6 games. And who's playing left tackle for you guys? DJ Humphries is the new starter, but he's questionable. So who's playing left tackle? The left tackle is a mess for the Kansas City Chiefs. And that bodes well for the Browns because the Browns have one of the best defensive ends in the game in Myles Garrett. So watch out there, Chiefs fans. Mahomes might get sacked, a couple sacks here on him. The Chiefs have the worst point differential for any 12-1 team since the 1970 merger in the NFL. So like I said, they're a little bit overhyped, a little bit overrated. The Chiefs rank 20th in the NFL in net yards play, which is worse than the Titans and Dolphins. So keep in mind, I keep on telling Chiefs fans, you guys are not that hot. I don't care about your record. So you know what? The statistics don't lie. The Browns are coming off a loss to the Steelers. In the last 3 games, the Browns have played 2 teams with the top defenses. And in those 3 games, they've put up 70 points. Okay, so like I said, they've lost 3 games, but they put 70 points in those 3 games. So they could put points even against good defenses. The Browns have the weapons to score on the Chiefs. Like I said, Jerry Jeudy. They have Elijah Moore, Tillman, and they have the great tight end, the guy's name I keep on messing up, David Njoku, whatever. He's a good tight end. And they have Nick Chubb and 4. Nick Chubb is not back to his old self, but hey, he's getting healthier every game. And Jameis Winston. Yes, the guy's a firecracker. He likes to sling it. But you know what? I think that's what you need to beat these Chiefs. I think he has the right attitude. Go into that game not afraid of the Kansas City Chiefs and just start slinging that damn ball. And I think that's what Jameis Winston's going to do. He has the weapons too, and he's going to come in there with no fear and just throw the ball everywhere. Hey, he might throw some interceptions, but you need to go in that game fearless. And I think that's what he's going to do against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Browns have the better net yards, pure play, over the last 3 games than the Chiefs do as well. So with all that being said, I think since the Kansas City Chiefs can't cover a spread for their life dependent on it, they haven't covered a spread in the last 7 games, they keep on squeaking by games left and right, even against teams like the Raiders, okay, and the Panthers. They barely won those games. So I think the Browns have enough weapons. They truly do have enough weapons. They have Jerry to stretch the field, more to come in down the middle, and they have Tillman on the other end of Jerry Jeudy, and a great tight end. So I think they have enough weapons, a fearless quarterback for this spread to cover. So I think I'm personally going to sprinkle some money on the money line. I think the Chiefs can lose this game, but for our sakes, give me the Browns to cover this game plus the 4.5. And I would wait till see if it gets at 5, because I think some late bettors on Sunday, the public will probably take the Kansas City Chiefs, and so the number might go up. So if you could get 5.5, that'd be great. But take it to the bank. I think the Browns have enough weapons to keep up with the Chiefs and possibly win this game outright. But like I said, for our sakes, give me the Browns plus the 4.5. All right, well, we have two teams. Both these teams are fighting to stay in the playoffs. Both teams are trying to make a statement. One is trying to show that they are actually a good team and they're worth winning their division. And we have another team that is trailing and trying to catch that last wild card spot. We have the Dolphins versus the Houston Texans. Texans being favored by 3 points and the over-under being 46.5. Dolphins coming off a win against the Jets, and they have won 4 out of their last 5 games. Since Tua has come back, the Dolphins look a lot better. You know, they had the most terrible backup quarterbacks I've seen in a long time. I don't know what the Dolphins were thinking. Hey, Dolphins fan, in the offseason, since you have a quarterback who is subject to get bad concussions, why don't you invest in a backup quarterback, an actual good one? You know, go pick up Joe Flacco if he's a free agent, somebody, because you guys need a good backup quarterback, or draft one for God's sake. Since coming back, he has a completion ratio of 73%, and the Dolphins still have an outside shot to make the playoffs, so they have something to fight for. Like I said, they have great weapons. You know, we don't have to repeat them, but we will. A-Chain, Tyreek Hill, Waddle, and Smith, who's turned out to be a really great tight end for them. So they have a good offense. The Dolphins are 1-5 against the spread against the AFC South, so keep that in mind because the Texans are in the AFC South. The Texans are coming off a bye, but before that, they beat the Jaguars. Texans need a win, and they need a Colts loss to win the division, so they're on the cusp of winning the AFC South. And the Texans will be without their starting linebacker, the guy who hit Lawrence, knocked him out cold with that dirty hit. I mean, it's dirty is debatable because Trevor Lawrence was sliding, and what are you gonna do when you're a defender when you're going that quick? And their starting corner, he's actually their starting safety, but he plays the nickel, he plays the slot. He's out for this game, so keep an eye out for that. The Texans have won 5 straight against the Dolphins at home, so that's something to know about. And this is a tough matchup. Both teams, they're good. They both have good quarterbacks. Both teams have weapons and they have solid defenses. The Texans can actually get after the quarterback. They're in the top 5 in sacking the quarterback. The Dolphins, they're not so great at getting after the quarterback, but their secondary is good at defending the pass. So keep that in mind. So the Texans have a bad offensive line, but if you can't get to C.J. Stroud, what does it matter? So I think this game is going to be a shootout. I truly do. Both teams are trying to fight for the playoffs. The Dolphins are crawling and pulling, and they're not going to go without a fight because they're trying to get that last wild card spot. And the Houston Texans are going to try to win this division this week. So I think it's going to be over the number. So I think my best bet is going to be over 46.5. I think that's the best bet. If I had to choose a winner, it'd be Miami plus the 3. But I can see this game being 27-20, 24-27 kind of game because both these teams need this win. But give me the over 46.5 as my best bet. And now we have the Colts versus the Broncos. Broncos being favored by 3.5 and the over-under being 44 points. The Colts are coming off a bye this week, but before that, they beat the Patriots. I think they needed a 2-point conversion with like a few seconds left to win that game. They have lost 4 out of the last 6 games, and the Colts are 4-1 against the spread as road underdogs, which is good because they're going to Denver. Anthony Richardson in the past 5 games has had 7 touchdowns and 3 picks. Not so bad. His completion rating is still pretty low, so that's something you wanted to see him to pick up there. He has all of his weapons. Downs is back. He was hurt a couple of games, but now he gets Downs, one of his favorite weapons. So they have Michael Pittman, who needed this bye because he has injuries to his back. and they have out Pierce, their deep threat, and now they have Down. So all their weapons are back for this game. The Colts don't really do anything great. If you really think about it, they don't do anything really great. They're 26th in passing offense, and they're 14th in rushing offense because Taylor, he's having a good year, not a great year. He has over 700 yards rushing. I believe it's maybe over 800. It's definitely over 700 yards rushing. But he's only averaging 4.2 yards a carry. That's not so great. Their defense is ranked 26th against the pass, and they're 31st against the rush, which is not good since the Broncos, the Broncos don't really have a good rushing offense either. So it really doesn't matter. The Broncos are also coming off a bye. They're also on a 3-game winning streak. During that winning streak, the Broncos have put up 108 points. So the offense is rolling a little bit right now, which is surprising because the Broncos don't have that many good weapons at all. The running game is atrocious. I don't know why they don't use the rookie more often. And they have just Sutton as their best wide receiver. And I don't really like any other wide receivers besides him. So Javonte Williams, I think he's just below average running back, maybe just average. So he's good at the goal line, but that's about it. The last 6 weeks for Bo Nix, this is a good one. The last 6 weeks, Bo Nix has thrown 12 touchdowns to just 3 interceptions. I'm impressed because I'll tell you what, I was not a Bo Nix believer, definitely in the beginning of the season, but he has turned the corner. Now, they haven't played against the best competition at all, but you know what? That's what you're supposed to do. When you're not playing the best teams, you're supposed to light them up, and he's doing that so far. So we all know the Broncos are all about their defense, great defense. They allow the second fewest points per game and the 8th fewest yards, and they lead the league in sacks. They have over 40 sacks, so that's a good statistic right there if you're going to bet on the Broncos here. The Broncos are rolling. The Broncos are rolling, and I think the Broncos will get to Anthony Richardson in this game. I really do. Anthony Richardson does have his legs, and I know he can evade sacks, but I think getting after Anthony Richardson, that's going to make him uncomfortable, and then he's going to have to either use his legs or because he has accuracy issues, he's just going to be more inaccurate once he's out of the pocket, and they're going to sack him. So, I think the writing's on the wall. I think the Colts are about 2 years away. I don't know if I'm a believer in Anthony Richardson just yet. And the Denver are really, Bo Nix is proving to be the better quarterback so far. And their defense is just really great. The Broncos are the best team against the spread. They're 10-3. They're 4-0 against the spread as home favorites, and they're home and they're favorites. So give me the Denver to cover the 3.5, and that 3.5 I got at FanDuel. So shop your books, people. So to get the best number. So give me the Denver to cover the 3.5 against this mediocre Colts team. And I like this matchup here. I really do. I think it's going to be a fun game. We have the Patriots versus the Cardinals. Cardinals being favored by 6.5 and the over-under being 46. Both teams are on a 3-game losing streak. Patriots are coming off a bye week. So let's keep this short and simple. Both teams are not good. They're not. When the Cardinals were winning those games and they're in first place and Colin Cowherd was like, oh, I really like them. They're like this and that. I was telling you guys, they were on my fool's gold list. I said the Cardinals are not good. Yes, they've had a few good wins, but they are not great. They're 2 to 3 years away from being really great, okay? So no, the Cardinals are not a good team, okay? And we know the Patriots are in rebuilding mode, so they're not so great as well. I've said the Cardinals, like I said, they got a couple weapons, but after McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr. is really inconsistent. He has 7 touchdowns, which leads all rookies, but 2 inconsistents. I'm not seeing. Hopefully he gets better because he had a lot of hype going to this season, and he doesn't get a lot of great separation from the corner when he's going, as a wide receiver. So after McBride and James Conner, the running back, they really have just a bunch of average weapons after him and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Wilson. So keep that in mind. It's all with Kyler Murray. It's Kyler Murray's legs, and it's the guy's really great. He has I think he leads the league in rushing yards for a quarterback. He's definitely the top 3. So it's basically Kyler Murray has to play Superman for Arizona to have a chance. Both teams, like I said, they like to run the ball. You have two teams that use the QB to run. I was surprised to see that Drake May has over 300 yards rushing. I had no idea. So both these teams run their ball with their quarterbacks, and they both run the ball with their running backs. They like to run the ball. Patriots are 4-2 against the spread in the last 6 games, and the Cardinals are 5-2 against the spread in their last 7 games. And the over is 6-2 in the Patriots' last 8 games. So with that, both these teams don't have good defenses. I think the Arizona Cardinals are like 19-20 in rushing and passing, whatever. Both their defense is not so good. I think both these quarterbacks are going to use their legs in this game to extend plays, and I think they're going to get the balls to their limited weapons, but they still have weapons. So I like this game to go over 46. I think it's the best play, and if I had to take the who would I pick in this game? I actually like the Patriots plus 6.5. I think the Cardinals now are back in last place in the NFC West. I think that's the morale can't be really good in that locker room since they lost 3 in a row. And the Patriots, they know they're in rebuilding mode. They know that they got nothing to lose. Okay, Drake May, he wants to prove that he's actually a really great quarterback in this league. So I think they will cover the number. I think the 6.5 is actually too big of a number. So I've got the Patriots plus 6.5, but I think the best bet is over 46. And we have the matchup of the week. We have the Bills versus the Lions. Lions being favored by 2.5 and the over-under being 54. Bills are coming off a high-scoring loss. That game went over 80 points. It was a hell of a game to watch. It was really fun. The problem with the Bills, what I have, they've only beaten 1 or 2 good teams. That's the problem I have with the Bills. They beat the Chiefs, really great, their best win. And their second best win is against the Seahawks. That's about it. And the Seahawks didn't really figure it out, and they had a lot of their defenders injured for that game. So it's a good win. It's a decent win, but I won't call it a good win. So they really haven't been battle tested. That's my problem with the Bills. Josh Allen, the guy had 6 touchdowns against the Rams. Amazing, right? Really amazing to see. But the guy has to play Superman. He really does. The guy has to play Clark Kent and Superman for the Bills to win these games or to put up a lot of points. So when they're playing against a high-powered offense like they are with the Lions, he has to do damn near everything. Running back, wide receiver, and quarterback. So that's the problem. They rely on him way too much, in my opinion. They rank 20th in sacks and 19th against the run, the Buffalo Bills. And like I said, they need to be battle tested a little bit more because the top offenses in this league, 12 of the 15 top offenses in the league are all in the NFC, okay? And the Bills, they lost 2 of 3. They lost 2 of the 3 games against teams with high-power offenses. They beat the 49ers, but that was a snowy game that the 49ers were not even ready for, okay? So I'm not even counting that game. But they did lose to 2 teams that had high-power offenses, okay? So that's all I'm saying. They need to be more battle-tested against top-tier offenses, okay? And they are. They're playing against the Lions. The Lions are coming off a win against the Packers, and they're on 11-game winning streak. They're almost put up 400 yards per game, so that's amazing. And they average 32 points a game. And they're first in scoring. They have a great wide receiver duo. They have a great running back duo. And they have a great tight end. So, these teams have weapons galore, okay? I'm not a real believer in the Bills defense and them being ranked 20th against the rush. 19th against the rush. That's just going to bode well for the Lions. The Lions have the best running back duo in Gibbs and Montgomery. But the Bills get some help too. They get Knox back, so they get they get Kincaid back. So they get Kincaid and Knox. That's a good tight end duo. Amari Cooper is building more of a connection with Josh Allen. So Cooper, I don't know if I know Coleman was questionable in this game, so keep an eye for that. But if Coleman plays this game, Coleman, Kaiser, I think his name is, and now Cooper and Cook at running back, who has like 700 yards and 11 touchdowns, and Superman Allen. So there's weapons galore on both sides of the ball. And the Lions are beat up on defense, okay? All their starting linebackers are out. They can't really get after the quarterback too well at sacking the quarterback. And I already told you the Bills are 20th when it comes to sacking the quarterback. So I think both quarterbacks are going to have a lot of times to pass the ball, and I think this number is going over 54 points. I got the 54 number on Bet Rivers. Like I said, shop your books, because I know I see it at 55. I think I even saw it at 56. I'm not sure, but I got this number at 54 points on Bet Rivers. I think there's going to be a lot of scoring in this game. They just have weapons everywhere, so I think the over 54 is a safe best bet. This is another great matchup. We have the Buccaneers versus the Chargers. Chargers being favored by 3 points and the over-under being 45.5. Bucs are coming off a win against the Raiders, and they're on a 3-game winning streak. They have won every game since Mike Evans has been back. I've been telling you guys that when Mike Evans and Godwin were hurt, the offense just looked. They're putting up points, but like Baker Mayfield had to, play Superman and sacrifice his body so they could be into those games. But Mike Evans back, it opens the field for him, and K-Dot and the great tight end just does great for him, and it helps the running game out. They have a good running back duo, and Rashad White and Bucky Irving, so it really helps out everything with Mike Evans being back. But pay attention, though. I know he said he's back, but he is questionable in this game. I think he is going to play, but he did not participate on Wednesday's injury report. Chargers are coming off a loss to the Chiefs. Chiefs got lucky again. They field goal off the uprights, and the Chargers lost. But the Chargers, they're just beat up right now. McConkey, their wide receiver, I don't think he played that game against the Chiefs. He's beat up. And since J.K. Dobbins has been hurt, they have not looked so great whatsoever. J.K. Dobbins really opened a lot of things up from not just in the rushing game, but the passing game as well. So with that, this is the battle of one team that has a good offense in the Buccaneers and one team has a good defense in the Chargers. Since Jacob Dobbins, like I said, he's been hurt, the Chargers their offense looks even worse than it already does. And I think the Buccaneers, I think with their high-power offense, I think the Chargers are going to have a hard time putting up points as well, because their offense looks just stale as hell. So I think the Buccaneers, with Baker Mayfield always giving 110 points, a good running back duo, and a good duo, a wide receiver and tight end duo, I think they keep it close enough. I even think they can win this game outright, the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games, and they're 8-3 against the spread in their last 11 games against AFC opponents. So give me the Buccaneers plus the 3 points. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes under 45.5 as well. But give me the Buccaneers plus the 3 points, and I actually going to put a little money on the money line as well. But I think the Buccaneers plus 3 is the best bet. Now we have the Battle of Pennsylvania. We have the Steelers versus my Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia being favored by 5 points and the over-under being 43.5. Steelers are coming off a win against the Browns, and they have won 4 of the last 5 games. Wilson has been great since he's been great since he's been implemented as the quarterback. 1,784 yards passing with 12 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions. And Najee Harris, he's looked great. I was bragging on him, saying how terrible he looked and how he's not a really good starting running back in this league. Well, you know what? Najee Harris has 877 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns and 249 yards receiving yards. So the guy's over 1,000 yards in total yards, so not too terrible. Their defense is ranked 7th. We all know they have a great defense. They have a great rush defense as well. So, there's nothing left to be said there. They have a great defense. But one thing to keep in mind, this is a big thing to me for this matchup. They will be without Pickens. They say Pickens are questionable, but after seeing Tomlin's press conference, it doesn't seem like he's going to play this game. So, who do they have in their weapons besides Pickens? Really think about it. The wide receivers are mediocre to not good after Pickens, and Pickens stretched the field for them. They have their tight end in Fairmouth. He has over 400 yards receiving. He's better than average. But who do they have? It's just the running back Harris. That's it. So keep that in mind if you want to bet the Pittsburgh Steelers plus the 5 points. I know Mike Tomlin is the underdog king, but he's playing against the number 1 ranked defense in the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, in my opinion, the best team in the NFL. So, keep an eye on that. Pickens being out really hinders this team from scoring points. The So with that, they have a great rush defense, like they said, but the Eagles, they played against the best rush defense in the Baltimore Ravens, and Barkley ran all over the Ravens. They leaned on him. They kept on rushing the ball against the Ravens. And what happened in the fourth quarter? The seal broke and Barkley took off, and he hit monstrous numbers against the Ravens in that game rushing. So I know that the Steelers have a great rush defense, like I said, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles lean on him, and then boom, it breaks again, and Barkley rushes for over 100 yards, 120 yards, in my opinion. They have no weapons without Pickens, like I said, but they're 7-1 against the spread in their last 8 games. The Steelers have covered the spread in each of their last 6 road games against NFC opponents, so that's good if you're a Steelers bettor. But let's talk about the Eagles, my Philadelphia Eagles. They're coming off a close win against the Panthers. I know it's the Carolina Panthers. Everybody wants to mention it, but the Carolina Panthers, they've been playing everybody tough, and they've covered 5 spreads in the last 5 games. So the Panthers are actually playing everybody hard. They took the Kansas City only beat them by 3 points. Okay, so the Panthers are playing well. The Eagles are on a 9-game winning streak, the number 1 rushing attack, the number 1 ranked defense, and they're second against the passing. They're the second best passing defense. And they get their starting safety back, Blankenship, who I believe leads our whole team in turnovers. So they get him back for this game, so this is going to be really great. The statistic that does it all for me is this one right here. Now, a lot of people say, well, the Steelers stopped the Ravens from them going off in their rushing game. My counter for that is that was a divisional game, and division teams always play each other tough. So I think that Pittsburgh, they always play the Ravens really well. So I'm not putting a lot of stock in that. But listen to this statistic. I think this says a lot. The Eagles have outrushed 11 of its last 12 opponents, okay? And teams that outrush their opponents this season are covering at a 66% clip. That is a great number if you like to bet on games, okay? So with that, I know the Eagles are going to outrush the Steelers, okay? Here is Harris as running back. He's having a decent season. Here's Barkley, okay? It's not even close. Barkley's an MVP candidate, the number 2 in odds right now, and Harris is not in the same stratosphere. So, like I said, teams that outrush their opponents this season are converting 66% against the spread. So with that, give me the Eagles to cover the 5 points. I think Barkley rushes over 100 yards. I think all this bullshit controversy between AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, which now it looks like it was a nothing burger, I think they're going to use that for fuel, and I think AJ Brown's going to get a touchdown in this game. And George Pickens being out for the Steelers is big because outside of him, they don't really have any weapons. Who are you afraid? The Eagles have the second best passing defense. Who are you afraid of when Pickens is gone? Nobody, okay? I believe Russell Wilson's probably going to use a lot of his legs in this game to keep plays alive. But I think the Eagles outrush the Steelers, and I like that statistic I just said, so give me the Eagles to cover the 5 points. And our last game, Sunday Night Football, another great matchup. We have the Packers versus the Seahawks. Packers favored by 2.5 points and the over-under being 45.5. Packers are coming off a close loss to the Lions. But great news for the Packers. They get Jair Alexander back, their best corner. He's been out for like several games, So getting him back is big news, especially when you're going against the wide receiver weapons of the Seattle Seahawks. They also get Romeo Doubs back, their speedster. They're at wide receiver, the guy who stretches the field for them. So getting him back is also good news for the Packers. Packers have the 6th highest turnover differential rate and the 4th most takeaways in the NFL. So they do get teams to turn over the ball. And the Packers have scored 30 or more points in the 3 straight games. So they're pinning it up. And Jacobs is having the last few games, Jacobs is looking really good. They've kind of turned into a power running team the last few weeks. Packers are 6-0-1 against the spread in their last 7 games versus the Seahawks. They're 6-0 against the spread in their last 6 games against the NFC West. And the Packers have won each of their last 7 games following a division game. So with that, let's talk about the Seahawks. Seahawks, they're on a winning streak, baby. They're looking good. They're number 1 in the NFC West. They're 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games. They're 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 home games, though. So they're not playing well at home, or they're not covering at home. They're coming off a win against the Cardinals and now are on a 4-game winning streak, taking first place in the NFC West, like I said. In the last 4 games, the Seahawks have held teams to 21 points or less. That means their defense is finally stepping up. They're looking great. And the Seahawks will need to pass the ball. The Packers allow the 8th highest completion rate. So it looks like the Packers are a little suspect to the pass. But like I said, they do get their best cornerback for this game. Kenneth Walker, their starting running back, looking like he's going to be out for this game. But they have a good backup in Zach Charbonnet. Zach Charbonnet looked really great last game. I had him in fantasy. He put up some great numbers. And the Seahawks defense has been the top 10 since week 8. So they have turned it around. It looks like they've done something, but so it's looked really great. Look, in this game, the Packers need to get after the quarterback. They need to get after Geno Smith. The Packers are average to below average at sacking the quarterback, but they need to step it up in this game in particular. And they might because, they get their best corner, so that might give the defense better time to get after Geno Smith. Because if you give Geno Smith too much, he's going to throw the ball over the top to Metcalf. They love the big play, the Seattle Seahawks. And they love throwing 50-50 balls to Metcalf because how strong he is, he could come down with them pretty good. So the Packers need to get after Geno Smith. So, but because the Packers are getting Romeo Doubs back, their speedster at wide receiver, and they're getting their best corner in Jair Alexander, I know he's probably going to have some rust, but, implementing him is going to be just having him as a plus. So getting those 2 guys back is like getting 2 free agents, It's really good for this team. It's going to build up morale. And they're pitting up a lot of points in the last 3 games. Like I said, the last 3 games, the Packers are pitting up over 30 points. So give me the Packers to cover the 2.5. I think a lot of people are buying a little too much of the Seahawks stock right now. So I think the Packers, I know they lost to Detroit, but I think the Packers stock is just a little too low right now. So buy that Packers stock. I think it's going to be a great game. But I can see the Packers winning by a field goal. They have a great field goal kicker now in McManus. So I think they can win this game with a field goal kick, definitely. So give me the Packers to cover the 2.5. All right, guys, those were my predictions for Week 15. We have so many great matchups. It is awesome. Like I said, Steelers versus Eagles, Packers versus Seahawks, and the Bills versus the Lions, which that's going to be an awesome game. So with that, let's get to my best bets. Now, like I said, I did not do good in my best bets last week. But you know what? I've been having a winning week for the majority of the NFL season, okay? I only have 1 losing week and 1 week that I went even at, okay? So let's pump the brakes a little bit. I had a bad week, but you know what? Let's turn it around. There's some money to be made here. There's some profit to be made. Let's do it. My best bets for Week 15 in the NFL. And my first best bet is Sunday Night Football. I like the Packers to cover the 2.5. Like I said before when I broke down that game, I like that the Packers are getting Romeo Doubs back, their speedster at wide receiver. I like that they're getting their best cornerback for this game. I know he might have a little rust, but put him there, he could keep up with Metcalf. He's a veteran. He can play the game, okay? And I like that the Packers are turning to a power running team in Jacobs. He's looking really great. I think the Seattle Seahawks stock is a little too high right now. People are putting him on a pedestal a little too much. And the Packers stock, just because they lost to the Lions, is a little too low. I can see the Packers win this on a game-winning field goal, but they're still going to cover that number. So give me the Packers to cover the 2.5. And for my second best bet, I actually hate this team. They're a big rival against my Philadelphia Eagles. But I think their stock is a little too low right now, and the stock is way too high for the Carolina Panthers. That's right. I like the Cowboys to win money line straight up against the Panthers. The Panthers, they've won 5 games in a row against the spread. I get it. They're looking really good. But the Cowboys haven't looked that bad. Cooper Rush is having actually a good, decent year. Go look at his stats when I broke down that game. The running back is looking good as well. Rico, he's having a great second half of the year. And they still have a good weapon in CeeDee Lamb, and Ferguson is back for this game. And they have Brandon Cooks, okay, as well, okay? So it's not a bad team. And the Panthers still have a terrible, terrible defense. So I think the Panther stock is too high right now. And I think a lot of people are doubting the Cowboys because they're not making the playoffs and they got beat by the Bengals. But so no, it's a little too much for me. Give me the Cowboys to win straight up against the Carolina Panthers. And for my third best bet, I like the Commanders to cover the 7.5 against the Saints. Now I know it's a big number, 7.5, but when you dig deep a little bit, you can see, okay, they can cover this number. David Carr's going to be out for this game. The Saints are saying, oh, he's questionable. No, they're just trying to play some kind of game like, oh, he might actually play the game, so watch out. No, he's probably going to not going to play. Why risk more injury to him when you're not going nowhere this season? He's not going to play. It's going to be a backup quarterback. And that backup quarterback, they're not going to get the ball to MVS. So that nullifies the big deep threat, okay? And so I think the Saints are just going to be trying to focus on the run. So if the Commanders could just focus on stopping the run against the Saints, I think they'll win this game. And the Commanders are coming off a bye, and they get their big trade acquisition for this game in Lattimore. Sure, he'll be rusty, but the Saints don't have no weapons at all. So I think it's a perfect bounce back game for Lattimore. He gets to play his old team, and he gets to knock some off a rust from a team that has a terrible offense. So I think this is just a bad matchup for the Saints at the wrong time. And I think the Commanders, knowing that they got to keep that last wild card spot, is enough motivation to win and win this. I think they win this game by 10 points. So give me the Commanders to cover the 7.5. Well, guys, that is my predictions, my best bets for Week 15. I like this week. I know I had a losing week in Week 14, but it was my first losing week since I started making videos on YouTube. So I really like this week. Guys, like and subscribe. I've been on a great winning streak before I lost last week. So if you followed me, you made some money, okay? So like, subscribe. It's free for you. Helps out this small channel just a little bit. I love doing this. I think we're going to make some great profit here. Tell me who you like, who is your best bet, what sneaky plays, what information you have, because any information we get is it's just more for us to make more money. And that's what we're here to do. Enjoy football and make some small cash on the side. So with that, guys, bet responsibly, like and subscribe. I love doing this, and I will always see you in the next one.